Okay, here we are on the Get Foxy show with sexual educator Shannon Hamaker. Thank you, Shannon, for taking the time today. I sure appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Terry.
So, tell me, how did you get involved with peer romance coaching and being a sexual educator? Did you choose your profession, or did this profession choose you?
It's a little bit of both. I was in the human ecology, child and family studies major back in the early 2000s and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life in my mid-20s. And I graduated, got a degree. I had kind of thought about being like a marriage family therapist because when I was sitting in class in University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, so back in Tennessee, the buckle of the Bible Belt, my professor who was teaching human ecology was visibly getting uncomfortable talking about sex. And I just thought it was so odd that it's something that everyone does, but nobody talks about it, right? So that kind of stuck with me for a long time, but it just didn't seem like a field that would be something easy to get into. So I worked in the social service field for a few years after I graduated. And what I found was I was in my late 20s and I was laid off at my job. So a friend of mine encouraged me to go to a party like this. And I was like, okay, this is the weirdest thing. You're going to go into someone's living room, talk about sex, and then what happens? You purchase products? It just seemed like a weird concept to me, but I was intrigued. So I went, and what I saw was these women just wanted a safe place to talk about sex. And the woman who was teaching was kind of what I was looking at, like, well, this is a social service, isn't it? This is something that I could do to help other people learn about their bodies, have better relationships, and I'll just do it until I find a real job. And I just celebrated my 13th anniversary with the company. It's been an incredible journey of just learning people's stories and how they want to learn more and how we need a valid, safe place to talk about this stuff. So it's just been an incredible journey in getting to meet a lot of different women all over.
And what kind of women do you see come to these pure romance parties?
Oh, anywhere from 18 to, I think I've had as old as 85. So I'll have groups of college students, and I love talking to college students. I'll do presentations, for sorority as a fundraiser or with the Women's Action Council groups that are on different campuses. And, those women are just, again, looking for information that pertains to them. And I think a lot of times they're looking at society and movies, and we all know that a lot of what's portrayed in those are just not accurate portrayals of what intimacy is. So I'm just saying you can figure this out on your own. You don't need anybody else to tell you. You just need to learn how your body works and to just feel like you have the right resources to go to. So college students, postmenopausal groups, mom groups, anywhere people want me to talk about sexual health, I'm there.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say the media doesn't necessarily portray sex in an accurate, I guess, intimacy in an accurate manner, what would an accurate description of intimacy be?
So those romantic types of movies where there's mad passionate love and he picks her up and he throws her up against the wall and it seems as if there's multiple orgasms happening and he just knows all the right spots. And so I've had a lot of women sitting in the spaces that I'm doing these parties and presentations, and I've heard them say, I feel like he should know where everything is. Well, every woman's body is different. Every person's body is different. And so that's where communication comes into play. And it also comes to play that you need to figure out how your body works in order to tell your partner, right? So that's kind of the first step, is just saying, these are the things that happen after you have a baby, or are you on any type of medication? Well, these are the effects of that. Or have you had cancer? Because this might be why you have low lubrication. Things like that, they're just not readily available, and it's hard to know where to turn to find out what fits for you. And I help people kind of sift through that information and say, this is probably your best bet. You live in Colorado, it's a very dry climate, and you're on medication, so your natural lubrication is probably going to be a little bit more difficult, and also your libido may be kind of affected by those medications. So those are like the little seeds that I'm just having those conversations, and I'm kind of that liaison to say, you may want to speak to a therapist about this, or you may want to talk to a pelvic floor specialist about this. And that's what I love, is that I get to go, it's okay. There's no such thing as normal as far as sex life goes. Talk to these people and we'll help you figure out what's best for you.
Oh, that is fantastic, Shannon. I think there are a lot of women out there, and well, honestly, and us guys too. We see these things in the media and then just go, oh yeah, magic's supposed to happen. It just, that's, and it just sure as hell doesn't. So being able to hear someone like you say, yeah, it's okay. And yes, there has to be frank communication involved and, you know, actual authenticity. And I mean, when we talk intimacy, really bearing your true self in front of someone else, I mean, that is the well, that's the epitome of intimacy, is it not?
Have you ever heard the term into me I see? Into me I see, or into me you see? It's kind of fun to play on words, to just say it's deeper than we're giving credit to, and it can be a very vulnerable place to be. And that's what I love, is being able to see these women. You know, knowledge breeds confidence. So seeing them at a party that I have, and then 3 weeks down the road, seeing them at another party, or they contact me and they're like, thank you so much. I just feel like I went on my honeymoon again. I feel like I'm married to a new man, because I was able to communicate to him that I want to try this, or this is, I thought I liked this. I thought I was supposed to like this, but I don't. Let's try something else. And that's what's really, it's like the fuel to my fire. People ask, do I ever get tired of parties? And I never. I mean, I imagine myself with like a walker, you know, going to parties and still telling these women, it's okay, ask questions. This is about you and what you want in your relationship. So, yeah. And for men too, it's a respectful thing. We're not portraying men as these goofy guys that don't know what they're doing. They really don't have great resources to go to either. I mean, they have to sift through a lot of different things as well. So, you know, trying to encourage that communication to start with the people that are sitting in front of me and saying, let's explore this together as a couple, that's pretty empowering. Yeah,
that's not just empowering. I mean, that's, from a guy's opinion, that's flat out foxy. It really is.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, what does being foxy mean to you, Shannon?
Oh, foxy. I think it's all-encompassing. I think it's I think it's like, you know, that curiosity, that you're open to new things and being curious about trying new things to see if they work for you, but also being confident in the place that you're in and holding that confidence. And I think it's just all encompassing. You know, you talk about your, not just looks. I mean, actually the looks are probably the last thing. I think it starts from within and it kind of radiates out. So yeah, I think that's what foxy means to me. I don't know if that was a real definition or not, but
that is your definition, and it's an extremely valid definition.
Well, thank you, Terry.
So has there ever been a time in your life where you couldn't find that foxiness, and what did you do to reclaim it?
Oh, definitely. I think we all go through that, and there's different levels of it. You know, with life changes, there's some setbacks. Sometimes you got to take a step back before you take a couple forward. And we moved. So I had a business in Tennessee for 9 years with Pure Romance, and it was like, I look back now and it was kind of on autopilot. I had done a lot of work to get there, but I also knew a lot of people there, and it was kind of a comfort zone. You know, it's kind of like the big person on campus that goes to college and then they're like, whoa, the world is so much bigger than I thought. Because we worked for about 2 years to move to Colorado for a better life, for better schools, for our kids. We wanted to experience all the adventure that Colorado has to offer, and my son has really bad allergies, so we thought it would help his allergies. So a lot of different things that drove us here, but we worked for so long to get here, and then we got here, and it was kind of like that why was taken away, and we didn't know what we were working for anymore. And it was scary because no one really knew what Pure Romance was, and I kind of knew my crew in Tennessee. So having to get out there, and I think that's how I met you, Terry, was at networking events and standing up and saying what I do. And you can imagine the responses that you sometimes get when you say I'm a sexual health educator with Pure Romance. I do parties and presentations that help through the life cycle of a woman. There's a lot of banter and jokes that kind of go along with that, and that comes with it. And I think that just confirms that people need help as far as having a different perspective on what intimacy and sexual health is. But during that time, you know, my husband was also dealing with some frustrations of his own, moving here and having to start his business over. So we had this period of time where we kind of grew apart and tried to both figure out how we fit in this new world of Colorado and moving our family across country. And I think the way that I reclaimed it was slowly working on different parts of myself. So surrounding myself with positive people and listening to positive things every day. You know, if I'm walking and I have Audible in and I'm listening to Elizabeth Gilbert, you know, Big Magic, that was a huge perspective shift. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. Those were all the things that I was listening to when I felt this big, but I knew I had something to give to this new place that I moved to. So I think it was surrounding myself with positive people, getting outside my comfort zone. If I stayed in that comfort zone, I would have ended up getting a 9-to-5 job somewhere, and I knew that would not be my ultimate place of happiness. You know, for some people that works for them, but I had something else I had to give. And what else? Making family time a priority and really managing our time and our money better. When we first moved here, it seemed like we were like, okay, we got to pay for this and this, and we moved here, so we must have to go skiing. Okay, well, we'll go do that. And then really reclaiming that, wait a minute, I'm making all this money. I need to make sure I'm telling it where to go. That was a big deal too, and having those conversations with my husband, and then also managing our time, setting tech-free time so that we're dialed in together, and the kids know that they're more important than our business or our iPhones that are in our hand. So combination of those things. I don't think it was any one groundbreaking thing, but it was little things that over time have made a huge difference.
And now what makes you feel the most confident?
Ooh, that's good. Choices. Being able to have choices and being able to design your own life and really stepping back. I think more the confidence that I get is when I talk to people that are real, like you or like other business owners, and we have the same drive and the same purpose in helping each other, and saying the external, like, you know, Facebook and notifications and Twitter and all these things that are out there, to selectively say, this is important to me, this is not, and I'm not going to let this have brain space. But the things that Terry's telling me that he's doing with his clients, that's good stuff. I'm gonna interact with him more and work with him more. You know, things like that are really make me feel more confident being able to help others feel empowered as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense.
Good.
So I think we've touched on it briefly earlier, but I still want to ask the question so we get a nice specific answer. And how is it that what you do as a sexual health educator and a peer romance coach, how does that bring out the foxiness in the women that you work with?
Oh my goodness. I could probably talk about this forever. So reel me in if you have to. Yes, I think it brings out the foxiness in them because it is helping them have a different perspective. It's having them sit most of the time in their friend's living room in a comfortable, safe space and hear that it's okay to take this information home and have a voice and tell their partners what they want, or to figure out what they want, to read these books that we have and learn about their bodies. You know, you have to think that most women were told that those are their privates. Sometimes they weren't even told the proper terminology of what their body parts were. So to sit and talk about this stuff for some women, they, you know, I get like feedback cards and I have them kind of like my report card. And the overwhelming response that I get is, this is so different than I thought it was. It was such a comfortable space. I learned so much more than I thought I would. I can't wait to share this with my husband. So it's all positive, like kind of perspective shifting. And I think that's kind of what the main drive is in making them feel foxy and leaving the party, leaving their friend's house with their bag of goodies that they're going to take back and say, lay down, I want to show you something. I got something at this party and I want to try something, and this is outside my comfort zone, but lay down. I got this. So that I think is what makes them feel pretty foxy. And of course we have lingerie and fun things like that too, but it's the confidence that they decide to do this that's the coolest.
So what are the questions, or at least one question, that women generally want to ask you but often don't find the courage to speak up?
Ooh, well, I hope that they feel comfortable. You know, the way that a party works, or a presentation, because I do presentations in hospitals, or I did one for like a group therapy for a pelvic pain disorder group. Most of the time what happens is we spend about an hour talking about these things and, you know, building connection and a comfortable atmosphere so that I know their names, I know a little bit about them, but I get to talk with them one-on-one in a separate area. So that is where they ask questions. And I think the thing I hear the most is, I don't know if this is weird or not, or I don't know if this is normal or not. And that's usually where I say, there's no such thing as normal. I've probably heard it. And I think that is what a lot of women want, is just validation. But what I'm hearing a lot are things that their OBGYN probably should hear. And that's, I really feel like I have low lubrication, or I feel like I don't know how to orgasm. I feel like I have pain during intercourse, and we hear that more often than we'd like to. So those are the things that oftentimes I hear. We kind of break down some things like, you know, how long do you have to warm up? Because on average it takes about 14 minutes for a woman, for her body, for her brain to tell her body to get that natural lubrication flowing, and for the clitoris to engorge with blood. And there's this thing called vaginal tenting, and a lot of women don't know that. You need more time, and it's great for men as well to have more time. So those are the very basic questions at the end, is the natural lubrication, I feel like my libido is lower. Oh, and another thing I'm hearing more is, I feel like I want sex more than he does. And there are a lot of men that are suffering from low testosterone, or they are maybe on medications that, you know, heart medications is one I hear a lot, diabetes, that has an effect on erectile dysfunction. So I'm hearing that more and more as well. So, and that has nothing to do with the woman. Sometimes I think, I don't think he's attracted to me, or something's wrong. I want it more than he does. And a lot of times that takes a blow on a man's confidence when they can't have an erection, or maybe they lost their job and they feel like their ability to provide for their family is, they just don't feel sexy and confident, and they are having a hard time wrestling with that. So that was like 5 questions, right?
Well, it's a complex subject. I mean, when we're talking about the mind, the body, the heart, and how it all connects so that we can have that intimate connection with another, there is so much that goes into this.
Yes, yeah.
And so that's what's interesting about your work as a sexual educator. It's a very holistic sort of job. I mean, you're not just pushing products on people. You are actually helping them address these other issues that may seem like they're separate, but really, truly, mind, body, spirit connected creates this whole picture.
Right. Yes, and breaking it down is important, because we all come from different sexual pasts. You know, some of us have had messages sent to us as super young that it is a shameful thing, and shameful sex education or shame-based sex ed is kind of what at least the kids of the 70s, 80s, and 90s have heard, and now we're kind of grappling with the effects of that. And it's amazing to go to these college campuses, and sometimes I'm like, wow, that's good stuff, you guys. Say that again, you know, because they are so open, almost too open sometimes with their sexual knowledge. But just the fact that they have resources and that they're talking about it is they're already going to be worlds ahead of where we were. So it's also just trying to help them bring it back into what pertains to them, and not feeling like they have to do everything, experience everything, but get to say, what, you know, look at what's important to you, and what do you value, and what do you think adds value to your life and these intimate relationships. So I kind of think about that too when I'm on campuses, is what do I wish I would have known when I was 19, 20, you know, and trying to figure out what's important and what's going to affect me in the future. And it's a lot of fun to kind of facilitate those conversations.
When it comes to Pure Romance, I know you guys do sell a fair amount of products. Like you said, you also sell lingerie and different items. I'm curious about which Pure Romance product that you couldn't live without.
Should I take you up to my medicine cabinet? Oh, there's so many. There's so many. You know, we have a lot of bath and beauty products. Our founder of our company, she loves to go to these different spas around the world, and she just loves really good products, you know, and she kind of weeds through them, and she'll find these wonderful products, and then we'll have products that are very similar that our chemist on staff has reformulated so that the average person can purchase them. Things like perfumes infused with pheromones, which pheromones are that subliminal scent that we all have. It's kind of like nature's Prozac. It has a calming effect. It makes you want to be around others. Some people that are in the serving industry, they say they get better tips. And some people that work with kids say that kids are calmer when they wear their pheromones. So it has a different effect on everyone. So that's something I have a ton of in a lot of the different products that we have. My husband loves the shave stuff, because it's a beard conditioner, and it softens the beard, and it also smells good. It has pheromones in those, so he's got that in his medicine cabinet. Now the other things, of course, I tell people I like to talk about my business, but not my business, if you know what I mean.
I hear you.
But I I can say that after being married for 12 years, just having this platform of knowledge and understanding, it has helped so much in our realm, because we have both come from such different paths of, relationships and what we were told growing up. And I grew up in California, and he grew up in Kansas for those impressionable years. So if that says anything, we both came from different worlds, and trying to figure all that out, it's just been helpful to have the information and the products that we have to try to figure out what our relationship is like.
Well, I know I've gotten some of the shave balm from Pure Romance, and I'm definitely a fan. Works wonders for well, actually, now that I'm growing the beard out a little bit more right now, I use it along the neckline, kind of clean that up. But yeah, fantastic product. So I definitely appreciate having it around.
Good. Try to use it on your beard and let it sit for a minute, and it will make it softer. It conditions the beard. Yeah.
Okay.
So makeout sessions with your wife will be a lot better.
Good to know. That'll definitely. I'll put that information to good use.
I'll have to get you the date night game too, Terry, because that's just a fun, light-hearted game that encourages communication. You don't have to think much about it. A lot of my friends that have children that, date night, you're like, oh my gosh, we haven't had a date night in forever. You can put these on the kitchen table, and it encourages conversation about things that maybe you've never thought about. Like, when's the last time you thought of me in a sexual way, or what's your ideal vacation spot, or what do you think about G-string underwear? Like, everything across the board. And it's just conversation starter. And then there's actions that are all 1 minute, and you can take one card and it will say, give your partner a foot rub for 1 minute. And it just gives you different things, and you can kind of mix them up and take them out to dinner, like just the conversation ones for a little fun foreplay. And then you're, want to get the check. You skip dessert. I'll just tell you that much. You get excited and want to go home. So
sounds like fun. So I'm curious, Shannon, who embodies Foxy in your world right now?
Oh, goodness. Who embodies Foxy? There are so many that, one person that's been on my mind lately is a woman that she passed away about 5 years ago. And when I think of Foxy, she was just an incredible woman that in my late 20s, she made a huge impression on me, because she was telling me a lot of these things, a lot of these messages, like, just giving back to who you work with, and really talking about the intimacy part of sexual health and post-cancer. She passed away from breast cancer. She battled it, I think, for 9 years, and her name was Debbie Hampton. And she, despite everything that she had gone through, her spirit of just being a Foxy woman to all that she encountered and interacted with, despite what she was going through, she's just, I still look to her as like a mentor. And whenever I get to a place where I'm like, is what I'm doing really that important? Because there are those, like in any business, you're like, is this, I just feel like I'm spinning my wheels and I should be in a different place than I am right now. And I just think about where she was and her encouragement of continuing to get the word out there and give women of all ages this permission to learn about their bodies. That to me is someone that is Foxy. And I continue to look to people like that. Like, she's always positive. There are several women that I work with that encompass this foxiness. They are continually trying to learn more and be better people all around. And I could probably name a ton of people, but yeah, that's another thing is the people that I'm surrounded by with our trainings that we have. And our founder, Patty Brisbane, she started this as a single mom of 4 children, and she started in her basement. And again, you think about those times where does this really matter? And you look at her now, and she still is spreading that message of empowering and educating and entertaining women, despite what the naysayers say. And the sexual health is still such a new research kind of area that there's still so much for us to learn. So, yes, I would say Debbie Hampton, Patty Brisbane, and lots of other people.
As a mentor, you've been mentored by these wonderful women. As a mentor yourself, what's the one piece of advice that you have for the listeners of the Get Foxy show about how to stay foxy?
Oh, man. I think to stay foxy, you have to decide what you value. What do you value as a person, first and foremost? What can make you the best version of yourself? And be very decisive and in letting people or messages ruin your spirit. Like, really look inside yourself and decide what's important and what's not. And after that, look to your partner and say, okay, what are our goals as a partnership? And how can we push aside all of the mixed messages that we're hearing? Because it can be very easy to start down a road that if you don't have a path that is already set out, like if you already have your vision and your values set out, when you start to go down that wrong path, you'll feel that uncomfortable feeling like, wait a minute, I said I wanted to run a half marathon by this date, and this decision is not going to get me there. Or I wanted to do this with we wanted to go on vacation together, and by spending our money here at Starbucks or wherever is not going to help us to get to that place where we need that retreat together. We need that time together. So be very decisive in what your values are and who you let in your space, in your family space.
I know there's going to be some listeners who've heard our conversation. They're going to be thinking, how in the world do I get a hold of Shannon Hamaker? Well, can you give us your contact information? Let us know how these women can get a hold of you so that they can get more information and start having more hot and healthy relationships.
Hot and healthy relationships. I like that. You can contact me on Facebook, Shannon Hamaker, SHANNON, space Hamaker, HAM as in Mary, AKER. That's the best way to contact me. I also have a website you can check out, prbyshannon.com. And I do have a fun event coming up, Terry, that is going to be September 14th at Purpose Brewing, not far from you. Oh, not far from your old space. Now it's yeah, it's still not far from your new space. But
Purpose Brewing in Fort Collins.
Purpose Brewing in Fort Collins, September 14th, and we're going to have raffles, and we're going to be doing a lot of like a mini presentation on sexual health, and we'll have massage therapists, and also we're going to be raising money for the Houston flood victims. So we'd love to see you there. When you friend me on Facebook, I'll add you to the event. Okay,
fantastic. And I can likely share that information in the show notes as well.
Yes, that'd be great.
Excellent. Well, Shannon, we are pretty much out of time for this interview, but thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being on the show. I think you've provided us some, frankly, amazing information today.
Good. I'm glad that I can help.
You betcha.